Enter the suite area. There's a bathroom to one side with a shower, and on the other side there's a bathroom without the shower. There are the rooms around the corner, two shared, one very small room in the middle which cannot be shared. The layout is like that. There's a little entrance, like a vestibule area too.
You've been involved since the facility opened in May of 2017. Have you been involved in the marketing of the facility?
Yes.
In the course of that marketing, have you found or discovered that there is a demand for a type of room that you don't currently provide?
Yes.
What is that demand?
A private room with a private bathroom.
The addition is designed with 54 additional bedrooms. Will you be applying to increase the number of beds for which the facility is licensed?
We would increase by 54.
One of the questions would be, why 54? Based on your experience, first of all, in the marketing of Bethlehem Manor and also your experience at Whitehall Manor and Saucon Valley Manor, do you believe that there is a market for the number of private rooms contained in this addition?
Yes, I absolutely do.
What's the current level of occupancy at Bethlehem Manor?
Yesterday we were at 57 residents.
Is 75, are you set up to accommodate 75 residents?
Currently 74.
74?
Yes.
Okay. In your opinion, is the addition that you propose for Bethlehem Manor necessary in order for Bethlehem Manor to remain competitive with other personal care providers?
Yes, absolutely.
At the time you opened Bethlehem Manor, you've heard some questions raised. Why didn't you do this when you started? At the time you opened this facility, did you anticipate the demand that you have currently experienced for private rooms?
No. I mean, at that time we did not anticipate it.
At the present time, if someone comes in and requires a private room, what do you do?
Well, when they come in, say for example, they come from a referral source like a Place for Mom, and people want to be in that area close to their family. So if I don't have a private room, I'll offer Whitehall, I'll offer Saucon, but that's not always close to them. And they want to be near their family. And the location of Pennsylvania Avenue is where they'd like to be, but we try to offer the other manors as well.
Okay. In your other facilities, do you have both private rooms and shared rooms?
Yes.
In your experience, are persons who occupy private rooms sometime, or do they sometime in the continuum of care that you offer, move from a private room to a shared room?
On occasion, yes.
Okay. I assume that private rooms are a little more expensive than shared rooms, is that right?
Yes.
So cost is a factor?
Yes, cost and people want their privacy.
Right. Do you anticipate that the proposed expansion would have any adverse impact on the neighborhood?
No.
How many of your current residents drive?
Currently 0.
How many own cars?
There's one resident who owns a car, but it's off premise.
So you don't. So would you anticipate, if this addition were constructed, that the number of residents who own cars would be comparable to what you have today?
Comparable, maybe 1 or 2.
Based on experience, again, with your other facilities?
Correct. And out of 235 residents at Saucon, it's mainly the independents that have the cars. There's only one personal care who has a car.
Are there economies that you'll be able to realize by constructing an addition to Bethlehem Manor rather than opening another facility at another location not in the same neighborhood?
I think the neighborhood is just lovely, and I'm really sorry, about what you're going through. I think the neighborhood is lovely. I think the location is wonderful. It's very accessible to everyone, and I think when you're at that age, whether you're 72 or whether you're 101, you want to have people come see you there. I think to relocate somewhere else, you wouldn't have the benefits of the established staff, the wellness is there, the dining areas, which Jean calls cafeterias, but like the dining areas, the activities. We do a lot to go out. It's very easy to take the residents out from that location. They get to go to now what's called Wind Creek, it used to be Sands. They get to go to the diner. They get to go to different places where if they were to move somewhere else, it's not as easy.
Does Bethlehem Manor serve residents, or have you already served residents of the immediate neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
Do you find that many of your prospective residents who interview for occupancy at Bethlehem Manor do so because of a desire to stay in or close to their neighborhood in which they lived, or which their relatives may live?
I think the location is a huge factor.
You'd be adding a substantial percentage of beds on a percentage basis, but how many additional employees will you need to take care of those additional residents? If you got the full expansion and you had full occupancy, how many additional people would you need to take care of those folks?
I think we went over that. It's per shift, it would add basically 6, and 5 to 6, depending on, sickness and all that. So about that is the number per shift that we would add to, if we were at full capacity of 54.
Mr. Berg indicated that in calculating parking demand, he had relied on the information that he obtained from you.
Okay.
He indicated that you had indicated there would be no more than 45 employees on the peak shift. Is that correct?
Yeah, never. Yeah.
Okay, that would be with full expansion.
Correct.
Okay. And that's approximately 6 per shift more than are on there at Cafe Manor today. Is that right?
Correct.
And what's your largest current shift?
Day shift is our largest shift. That is when we have the nursing staff. We also have the administration, dietary, admissions, activities, maintenance, and housekeeping.
And approximately how many people do you have now on the peak shift?
I'd be guessing, get a bit of, around between 15 and 18.
Right. Is that a pretty good guess?
Yes.
All right. So you'd be talking about adding 6 during the day shift, is that right?
Yes.
All right. When visitors come to visit a resident, what entrance do they utilize?
They utilize the front entrance.
Is that on Pennsylvania Avenue?
Yes.
All right. Will visitors continue to use that, will all visitors continue to use that entrance if this expansion is complete?
We plan to have them use that entrance.
Okay. Is visitor parking provided in the driveway along Pennsylvania Avenue currently adequate for visitors?
Yes.
Based on your familiarity with visitation at the other facilities that you operate, you believe that the visitor parking that presently exists will be adequate to serve the expanded facility?
Yes.
Mr. Berg testified we currently had 45 parking spaces altogether, and that there's no expansion proposed of the parking because that's what's required. Is your parking lot ever full?
No.
Okay. Never full even at the peak times for visitation?
No.
What are your busiest times for visitation?
Either the evenings or Sunday. Sundays, I think we're seeing a little bit more activity, especially with the weather getting better, or people dropping things off on the Saturday. On occasion, after work,
But generally, the heaviest, the most visitors come on the weekends, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And that's a time when traffic on the existing roads is not at its peak. Is that a fair statement based on your observations?
Correct.
There's always a concern about the impact on the number of deliveries? I mean, if you add 54 beds or 54 residents to your existing facility, what impact would you anticipate as far as the number of additional deliveries that might become necessary?
I don't see additional deliveries. I see more that if US Foods is delivering, instead of having 40 boxes, they're going to have 70 boxes. I don't see additional trips coming in. I see the larger quantity coming in as opposed to additional trips.
I assume, as the last gentleman was asking questions, had assumed that periodically there are ambulance visitation to the facility, and that if you have more people, you may have more ambulance visits. I guess that would be something you might anticipate.
Could be.
And I know from the Planning Commission meeting that I attended with you, and you attended with me, that neighbors are sometimes concerned about the sirens from ambulances. Have you attempted to make arrangements with ambulance squads that service Bethlehem Manor to limit the inconvenience that sirens may cause for the residents?
We have.
What arrangements have you attempted to make?
We've asked them to turn the sirens down because it's not only upsetting to the neighborhood, it's also upsetting to the residents, especially the memory care residents. So we've asked them not to have the loud sirens when they do pull up. Has it always worked? No, but we have asked numerous times.
Based on what you've described, if I were a neighbor and this facility were constructed from the standpoint of traffic, from the standpoint of deliveries in and out, would you anticipate any significant, that they would observe any significant differences between what they observe today and what they will observe after this expansion?
I do not.
From an operational standpoint, are there economies that you will recognize as a result of having these expanded beds located in this facility as distinguished from being in a remote facility, even assuming that you were able to locate a facility? Let's assume you bought a building next door and you built 54, or across the street where I think we determined the last time the use is permitted by right. All right, you buy it across the street, set up an independent 54-bed private facility with private rooms. Would that have a greater impact on the neighborhood than an expansion of the existing building?
Absolutely. I think if we had a separate building, it would definitely. Staff can't just be within the building and take care of the residents on the lower level and then the staff on the upper level. Now you also have another building that you have to staff. Now you have another building that you need to feed. You have another building that you need to take your housekeeping supplies over to. You have another building where the maintenance has to go. You have another building where your activity supplies and your bingo supplies have to go. So there's a lot more going to go on if it's a separate building as opposed to consolidating and having it all under one roof.
That concludes my questioning of Mrs. Atiyeh on direct.